tonight, our first set of candidates up are for Circuit Court Judge Part 2. Rules are fairly simple. We're going to give each candidate 2 minutes for opening statements, and we're going to hold them to that because they're attorneys, and I know they like to talk. We have a bell here. We'll ring it at 2 minutes. Once we start going with questions, we'll do 2 minutes for questions. We'll have time for rebuttals. We built in about 22 minutes, and we'll just kind of stop it when we get done with time. And then if we have time, we'll let everybody have about a minute to close. If we don't have time, we've got to wrap it up and move on to the next race. So that's about how the rules are going to work for tonight. I don't think anybody has any questions. Anybody have any questions here? I'll introduce everybody. If you're watching on Facebook Live as well, welcome in. If we have any Facebook Live issues, I want to remind everybody they can also listen at thunder1320.com and on the Manchester Go app. We got Bobby Carter and Eric Birch. They want to raise their hands and show everybody who's who. We will go with opening statements. We did a coin toss earlier and predetermined that Mr. Carter will go first. He has 2 minutes for his opening statement, and then Mr. Birch.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bobby Carter, and I want to be your next circuit court judge. I grew up in Tullahoma. I graduated from Tullahoma High School. My wife, Lisa, grew up here. I graduated from Coffee County High School. Together, we've raised 5 children. I graduated from the Citadel, Military College, South Carolina. Went there on a full scholarship. Graduated from the University of Tennessee College of Law. I'm a veteran of the United States Navy. I served in the Judge Advocate General's Corps. That's where I got my first seasoning in being a trial attorney. I bounced around a little bit, but I moved back here, and I've come to love the citizens of this county and this jurisdiction. I decided some time ago that I would run for circuit court judge. I've probably tried more jury trials than any currently practicing attorney in this jurisdiction. I'm not positive of that, but I have tried a lot of them. In 30 years, I have had a lot of legal experiences and run a lot of judges. It has not all been peachy. I've had some various storms that have come up in my life, but what I found are that the bad experiences don't necessarily be bad experiences until you turn them into good experiences. And what I mean by that is that if you learn from your experiences, then that is an experience that you can forward on to the people that come in front of you as a judge. Folks, we face a lot of challenges coming up in the next 8 years. I would urge you to look around, and what I would really urge is there's an old English saying that the proof is in the pudding. This is what my pudding is. If there are any questions about my professionalism or my fidelity or my fairness, I would ask anybody, any of the voters, potential voters, to talk to anybody in any courthouse within 50 miles of here, anybody in any district attorney's office, anybody in any public defender's office, anybody in law enforcement, any court reporter, any other attorney. We have some judges here that are getting ready to retire. I would urge you to ask the sitting judges that are getting ready to retire, judges on the bench, both in this district and out of this district, who has the best temperament to become your next circuit judge. And I feel confident that when you've seen all of the evidence, and I mean all of the evidence, that you will find that I will be the candidate that is most likely to take care of you all, the citizens that come before you. I don't have any affiliations with anybody. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Next will be Mr. Birch. 2 minutes. They're on.
All right. First of all, I would like to wish my daughter Abigail a happy 18th birthday. With that said, it's time we have a serious discussion, folks. To be qualified as a judge, you have to be licensed in good standing and 30 years old. Mr. Carter here could not run for sheriff, even if he had the requisite law enforcement experience. Mr. Carter could not even run for constable. In order to run for constable, you have to be able to read and write, and you have to not have been convicted of a felony, ever. The state of Tennessee is passing a law as we speak that adds a qualification for judges in the state of Tennessee. It says that if you have been censured, suspended, or disbarred for an act of dishonesty in the past 10 years, you can't be elected judge. Now, that may or may not impact this election. Over the course of 12 to 18 months, Mr. Carter stole at least $80,000 from his longtime friends and law partners. It wasn't a one-time deal. He was not a young man when he did this. He was about my age. He was suspended for 5 years from the practice of law. He wasn't fully reinstated until 2016. He pled guilty in a court of law to felony theft. I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. Why is the law that any law enforcement officer, from a constable to the head of the TBI, cannot have a felony conviction? Second question is, should these qualifications for the leader of an entire judicial system be at least as stringent as those of constable? Third question is, do we want someone as the leader of the judicial system in Coffee County who would steal from his longtime partners, longtime friends? If he did that to them, what is he going to do to the rest of us? I really can't believe I'm having to sit up here and say this today. It's an important conversation and one that has to be had. Nobody's had it to this point. I waited for Mr. Carter to tell the truth, and he simply has not done it. Thank you.
With that, instead of moving on to questions, we're going to let Mr. Carter address that 2 minutes.
For the 5th time in 2 years, I'll address this. Everybody in this room knows that about 15 years ago, that'd be a decade and a half, I broke my neck in a car wreck. And my very good doctor, I'm not blaming him, he knew a lot about spines, but he knew a lot about genetics. He prescribed me 120 oxycodones for about 4 months, and after the end of that 4 months, I was a drug addict. I've always been forthcoming about that. As a matter of fact, that was in my application last year to the Judicial Trial Court Vacancy Commission. And by the way, I made it through TBI checks. I made it to the governor's legal office. I was one of the top 3 candidates that went to the governor. Now, I'm not going to address all the factual inaccuracies in my colleague's attack, but what I will say is this. Among the many bad things that I did 15 years ago, I did not turn over fees that I earned from my law firm. Now, when my head cleared up and all this came to light, within about 2 months, I signed a document that fully paid them back and then some. Now, this has been hung around my neck for 15 years. You know, Easter is coming up, and most of us in here are Christians, and we believe in redemption, and we believe a man can redeem himself. St. Paul. Torturing Christians one day, dying for Christianity the next. A man is the sum of his parts. Go ask the people in these courtrooms who is the most qualified. They know everything about me. They grew up with me. They saw me in the bad times. They saw me in the good times, which, by the way, the good times have been about the last 15 years. I've spent the rest of my life trying to make it up to these people. I ask you to fairly, and look at this, I'm on the ballot. I will be on the ballot, despite the best efforts of a lot of people in this state. I ask you to consider me the good and the bad. You're going to have children that have drug problems that are going to come in front of me. You're going to have grandparents. You're going to have parents. You're going to have moms, dads. This affects everybody. Who better to know it than somebody that's been through it? And I suggest that that's me. Thank you very much.
Mr. Carter, we appreciate you being here this evening. I'm Robert Miller, she's a part-time employee at Thunder Radio. We had requested from listeners and readers of the website to submit questions, and we've selected some of those questions to ask each of you this evening. We'll start with this one. This goes to both candidates. You go first, and then Eric. And I can repeat it later on if I need to. Tom in Manchester says that he feels like the judicial system in Coffee County moves slower than surrounding counties. He wants to know what, if anything, that you can do as a judge to move the process quicker.
The judicial system in this county is a 2-judge, 1-county district. There is no reason for the cases to move slower in this county than other counties, but it does tend to move slower. Mr. Birch has a plan that he has contrived with the sitting judge, Mr. Lockhart, that he's published in the newspapers, and he wants to reduce the criminal judge docket from 2 judges to 1 judge. Now I want you to ask yourself, is that going to make it slower or is that going to make it faster? Well, I suggest to you that it's going to make it slower. My answer to this would be that you have to have 3 people that want to move a case forward. You have to have the judge, you have to have the district attorney or the prosecutor, and you have to have the defense lawyer. In a private case, you have to have both the plaintiff's lawyer and the defendant's lawyer and the judge. My suggestion is to have more aggressive docketing calls. And by the way, I want to commend Judge Lockhart because he's doing that right now. That's my solution. But we need 2 criminal court judges. There's no doubt about that. This system of 1 criminal court judge and 1 civil court judge is simply unworkable. You can't get a trial right now for a year for a person that's arraigned today. Think of and that's with 2 judges. That's with Judge Jackson, who's going to retire, and that's with the current sitting judge. Think of what it's going to be like with 1. I suggest that it needs to stay the way it is. The docketing call needs to be more aggressive. By the way, we have about 360 people that we're feeding and housing out here in the county jail that are waiting on their trials. We need to get those people taken care of so the state of Tennessee can take care of them, or they can go on probation or whatever their case needs to be. But that's my solution. The solution that's been proposed by my opponent, not going to work. Thank y'all.
Mr. Birch, would you like me to repeat that question, please?
No, sir. First of all, it was not 15 years. That's just another example of inaccuracies. It's all public record. You can look at the dates. It's there. I do have a plan. I'm the only one that has a plan. It's a misrepresentation of my plan. And Mr. Carter knows it, that I won't handle criminal cases. I'm going to have to handle criminal cases. What I propose is that the more minor offenses are handled by Judge Lockhart, and the Class A and Class B felonies, for instance, are handled by half by me and half by him. Okay? That's what the plan is. And I'm open to discussion. I've talked to Craig Northcott. I've talked to the public defender's office. I've talked to the clerk's office. I've actually talked to these people, and I have a plan. Okay? I'm not going to get into the weeds of what the plan is, but I'm a board-certified family law specialist, one of only 9 in the entire state of Tennessee. I'm the most qualified candidate to handle divorce and domestic relation cases. I've handled over 3,000 of them. I think those are the most important cases that judges, circuit court judges hear, because they're dealing with children. Okay? Children don't get to pick their parents. I think it's very important. Currently, under the current system, each judge only has 1 day a month to devote to domestic relation cases, temporary orders, things of that nature. Busy lawyers are busy people, and it's going to get worse. Calendars are going to get worse. I will offer a day every single week in divorce cases or custody cases or whatever that may be. So a mother is not waiting for 2 or 3 months before she can get the support she needs. Or a father doesn't have to wait 2 or 3 months before he can see his kids. There are 100 different examples. Frankly, it's more important than the criminal system, in my opinion. But I think the criminal system is important too. There's no reason for somebody to be in jail for a year at our expense, the taxpayer. Just simply no reason for it. I will have a plan. Judge Lockhart and I will work together. We've worked together for 6 years. We've never had an argument. We will talk about cases. We're going to be right over in the same office. I can walk across the hall.
Dean. Okay, so this will be for both candidates. Mr. Carter, go first. If you're currently running a successful private practice law firm, why would you leave that to run for judge?
Boy, I'm sure wondering that right now. Why would I put myself through this? Most lawyers run from their disciplinary record. They want to bury it. They want to hide it. Most lawyers don't want you to know that they've been in trouble, and most people don't want you to know that they were a drug addict. But I learned something in recovery in the 500 AA meetings, 1,500 AA meetings I attended, and lawyers assistance program meetings, and going and trying to work with people that are trying to get through this. And this is what I learned: that if I'm open about my addiction, and I've had this happen, somebody will come to me after court, or they'll come to me after some whatever proceeding or whatever meeting. They'll come to me and they'll say, "Bobby, do you think I might have a problem?" So there are two reasons why I've been open about this, and getting back to the private practice, there are two reasons that I'm open about that. One is I'm going to help somebody if they hear it, if I'm open about it. And number two is I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I may not get voted for, I may not get your vote, but I hope I got a little bit of your respect. I opened my law practice from ground zero. I was broke on April Fool's Day of 2012. My life was in shambles. I was just starting to put it together. My marriage was rocky. My faith was strong. And a lot of people suggested to me, "Bobby, you're probably not going to be able to come back here. You might want to work." And I had opportunities in Nashville, and I had opportunities in Murfreesboro and Chattanooga. But I decided to plant my flag right here because people knew me here. I'm 59 years old, and I didn't want to go down being remembered by the 4 worst years of my life. And I don't want y'all to remember me by the first 4 worst years of my life. I want y'all to remember me by the 55 good years of my life. My law practice is fine, but I feel like I've been called to do something else. I figure God saved me back during that hurricane of bad judgment, and he saved me for a purpose. Thank y'all.
Mr. Birch?
Well, first of all, he just made the point. 2012 was 10 years ago, and he talked about the previous 4 years. That'd be 14 years at the most, okay? Not 15 years. The short answer to that question for me is I intend to retire from my current law practice if I'm not named judge. The system is currently it's a hard way to make money and make a living for my family. There are other business interests that I have that I've been successful at, and I'm not ashamed of that. I will always maintain a law practice, and I will help people that I want to help, and that's it. So that's why I'm doing this. I think I'd be good at it. I think I could make a difference in the legal system. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, next question. According to Sheriff Parton, about 80% of inmates in the Coffee County Jail are incarcerated on pretrial misdemeanors. When weighing the cost of housing inmates and the strain on county resources versus the safety of the community at large, do you view this as serving the intended purpose of the jail and judicial system? What is your role as a judge in these matters?
That all comes along with the plan. Currently, each circuit court judge has court 2 regular criminal days per month. Okay? Judge Lockhart would hold criminal cases every single week. And we've got a great staff. We're keeping them all together. We intend to slot cases. If Jason Ponder has a motion that's going to take a half an hour, rather than have Jason Ponders sit in court from 9 o'clock until 3:30, waiting on that motion to be called, our secretaries, Lisa Scheffler, Teresa Burton, are going to schedule slot things. And we're going to work together. And we're going to stop wasting all of this time, which is what is happening now. This is not a criticism of prior judges. Coffee County has changed. Our population since I started practicing law has increased by 50%, and it's going to get worse. Okay? We want to do things a smarter way. My opponent has yet to offer any sort of plan. He just talks in platitudes and does not talk in specifics. I'm talking in specifics. I'm open to ideas. I'm sure that my plan is not as good as it can be. I want to work with the DA's office. I want to work with the public defender's office. I want to work with the drug court. I want to work with DCS. There are 18 lawyers here in Coffee County that it's their job to make Coffee County the best judicial system it can be. I want to work with all 18 of those people and make it happen. It has to happen. It must happen. This is not good enough. Let's make it better. I have a plan. I'd love to hear Mr. Carter. Thank you.
Mr. Carter, same question. Would you like me to repeat that?
Got it.
Thank you.
In 30 years, I've been in front of court-martial judges. I've been in federal judges. I've been in front of state judges. I've been in front of general sessions judges. I've been in front of district court judges. I've been in front of claims commissioners. I've been in front of admiralty judges. So I've gotten to talk to a judge or two in 30 years. And when Judge Vanessa Jackson, who's leaving, the term that we both seek, when she first got on the bench, I was joking around with her, and I was talking with her back in chambers, and she didn't have a criminal background. She was a very good civil judge. And like me, she'd been at it 30 years before she decided to run for judge. And I asked her, I said, well, have you figured out what your job is? And she said, I think I have. My job is to keep this set of people away from this set of people. This is what she meant, I think. Oh, and by the way, ask her who she thinks ought to fill her seat. What she means is this. We have a limited amount of money to house these people. I mean, we've gone to great expense to build this jail. And folks, it's not a jail, it's a prison. It is a 400-bed prison. If you've ever gone out there, I encourage you to take a tour. And it's very professionally run, and it's very expertly run. It's got a tower, just like the prison shows you see on TV. But it's expensive. The state of Tennessee and the federal government gives a certain amount of money to house these prisoners and to maintain this jail. So you have a limited amount of resources to which you have to devote to this. So here's what you have to do. And this, again, Ms. Jackson told me this. We put people in jail because we're mad at them or we're scared of them. So what you have to do as a trial judge, and I don't have a detailed plan. All I can promise y'all is to do my duty. But what you have to do is you have to figure out who you're mad at and who you're scared of. In other words, you have to determine public safety, and you have to put the most deserving people, the people that have earned a spot in there, need to be in there, and everybody else needs to be on bond, or their cases need to be resolved. It's a matter of judgment. It's just using your judgment, and I have 30 years of judgment that I think I can put to use. Thank y'all.
All right. For time reasons, last question. I'm going to give each a minute on this one. And Mr. Carter, you'll go first. And then after that, you'll have time to give your closing thoughts. What are your thoughts regarding treatment courts such as drug court, veterans court, and other rehabilitation services available here?
I'm going to ask the people here in the room and the people listening out in the audience and the voters, who do you think might be the better background equipped candidate to run or to oversee the drug court or the veterans court? I would suggest to you that that would be me. Now, it's been suggested that we only have 8 patients in the Coffee County Drug Court at current time, and that was suggested by my opponent in the last debate. And I'm going to ask y'all think there's more than 8 people in Coffee County that need drug court? If you do, go over there to the jail and take a tour. I think that the role in the drug courts and the veterans courts are essential, because what it does is it diverts people out of that system where we're paying for them. Or we're going to have to pay for them anyway. But at least if we have them in a system where we can meet with them and where we can encourage them to follow the law and follow the mandates of their probation, and we can keep them out of that jail and out of the penitentiary. It saves us all money, and it makes us good citizens. I mean, that's what we want, right? We preach redemption, and we preach put the bottle down, put the drugs down, quit doing wrong, and make yourself better. We need to put some heart and soul behind that. I mean, if I can do it, anybody can. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. And if I can do it, anybody can do it if they just put their foot forward. But they need proper leadership, and they need proper guidance, and they need a little bit of humanity. And I suggest to you that I offer that. Thanks.
Thank you. First of all, I'm not going to apologize for not being a drug addict. And it's just like, here he goes again. It's not 8 people in drug or veteran court. It's 6 people in drug or veteran court. And the circuit court judge has absolutely no say-so in who is admitted to either of those courts. That decision belongs with General Northcott, working with the defense attorneys, public and private. And it is his discretion, not the judge's. Judge Lockhart handles the Veterans Court. Judge Perry handles the drug court. Both are committed to those. In fact, I know they are not going to give those up willingly to Mr. Carter. It's just not going to happen. I would encourage you, since Mr. Carter brought it up, ask Judge Perry and Judge Lockhart who they think is better qualified to be the next circuit court judge. Ask them. Thank you.
All right, we got a minute apiece to close. Mr. Birch will go first.
I'm not going to say anything else about Mr. Carter. Frankly, I feel sorry for him. I have a vision. It's always bothered me that Coffee County, Tullahoma, Manchester always seem to be at odds. They always seem to be pulling apart rather than pulling together. My vision is for them to work together. I've got a plan for the legal community, and I think it'll work. Open ideas, but that's not all. We've got things like schools, city and county governments, the medical community, the real estate community, planning and zoning, banks, industries, roads, retail, religious organizations. Every bit of that could be better. It should be better. It must be better. If we were all pulling together in the same direction, think what we could accomplish. That's my vision, and that's going to be my goal for the next 8, 16, 24 years, however long I'm alive and well. I intend to seek that vision and work on it and work to make this a better place where our kids, where Mr. Carter's kids, he's got a daughter that goes to NYU. There are very little, if any, opportunities for her or my kids. We want talented kids to have a reason to come back to Coffee County and have opportunities. They don't exist right now. We can do better. We must do better. Thank you.
Mr. Carter?
Going to get a little repetitive. Lawyers are accused of doing that. I told you at the beginning of this that the proof is in the pudding. Ask any courthouse worker, ask anybody in any DA's office, ask any attorney, ask any court reporter in any courthouse in southern Middle Tennessee or the federal courts down in Chattanooga about me. If there's any doubts about my professionalism, my integrity, my honesty, my fairness, ask them. The proof is in the pudding. Now, I am not a perfect person. That ought to be evident by now. But courts are not instruments of perfect people. People don't wake up in the morning and say, yeah, I'm just having such a good day, I think I'll go to the courthouse. Courts are instruments to resolve conflicts between imperfect people, imperfect bodies, imperfect organizations. I haven't talked about specifics here. The specifics can come later. In 30 years, I've learned a thing or two at the old Citadel at the University of Tennessee Law School. I learned a little bit about how to practice law. In 30 years, I've learned a little bit about how to try a lawsuit, a civil case, a criminal case. They're all kind of the same. I'll tell you this, you screw up a civil case, you can put down an order that amends it. You screw up a criminal case, and a guilty person may go free, an innocent person may go to jail, or these poor victims have to come testify again. I think my background in criminal law makes me particularly suited to this, but you guys know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the people out there that have problems. Thanks.
Thank you. That'll do it for our first segment with the Circuit Court Judge candidates Eric Birch and Bobby Carter. For folks back on the radio, we're going to take... For folks listening on the radio, we're going to take about a 4 or 5 minute break to get our next group up here, listening to Thunder Radio.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Hi, my name's Bobby Carter, and I'm asking for your vote in the Circuit Court Judgeship of Coffee County, 2nd Division. I grew up in Tullahoma. I attended the Citadel and the University of Tennessee Law School. After that, I served my country as an officer in the United States Navy JAG Corps. Since then, I've been a trial lawyer in Coffee County for the last 25 years. I feel that I have the legal and life experiences to protect the citizens of this county over the next 8-year term. I would appreciate your vote in the May 3rd Republican primary. Thank y'all.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, everybody, welcome back into the political forum hosted at the church at 117 in downtown Manchester. I'm Josh Peterson. Our next set of candidates is for General Sessions Judge Part 2. We have Gerald Yule. He wants to raise his hand, tell everybody who he is. Garth Seagrove's running as well. We'll start with 2 minutes for opening comments, decided by coin toss. Gerald said he wanted to receive. So we'll go first.
I would like to be your next General Sessions Judge, and I would humbly ask that people elect me to that job. I see Judge Ledsinger in the crowd, and I think we all owe him a great debt of respect for all his service.
Get that microphone, Gerald. Get that microphone just a little closer to your face.
Okay, all right, thank you. He served as a probation officer, assistant district attorney, and General Sessions Judge, and has a great manner about him. General Sessions Court is what it says. It is a court of general sessions. It manages interpersonal conflict. It handles misdemeanor criminal matters, divorce matters, orders of protection, dependent and neglect matters for juveniles, unruly and delinquent matters for juveniles, termination of parental rights, a whole bevy of things involving the interaction between people that can't get along for one reason or another. Handles evictions and repossessions, civil matters under $25,000. I have 30 years of experience. I've practiced in General Sessions Court of every county that surrounds this one, some even a county or two away, for over 30 years. I've been battle-worn and all of those things. I've practiced in the circuit and chancery courts. I've handled numerous divorce cases, orders of protection cases. I've handled termination of parental right cases. I've handled grandparent visitation cases. I've handled all of these cases, and I think I am qualified by temperament, ability, and discipline to serve as your next General Sessions Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Seagrove.
My name is Garth Seagroves. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I suspect that this segment is not going to be nearly as spicy as previous. That being said, I would like to again comment on Judge Ledsinger being here. He's done a wonderful job for the last 2 decades plus on the bench. I essentially brought up in that courtroom, in Judge Brock's courtroom. I can remember when I first started practicing law 20 years ago, when I would hear someone say they had practiced for 20 years, 30 years, or 40 years, I thought, oh my Lord, that is such a long time. And now at 20 years, I can tell you it is a long time. When you do what we do, you go to court every day, and you're essentially a trial attorney, and you're in there every day dealing with people's problems. Half the people I talk to do not even know what court I'm running for. They don't know the sessions courts as opposed to a circuit court. And you have to explain it to them. And Gerald did a good job explaining what those avenues are in general sessions court. I'm asking for your vote in this because I'm in not just this courtroom, I'm in the surrounding counties courtrooms and general sessions on a day-to-day basis. I handle countless cases, up to 200 cases a year in criminal court. In the past, I've handled approximately 1,000 juvenile cases, countless termination of criminal rights. I've done orders of protection. I have tried to stay away from divorces because no one is ever happy in that situation, and it's just miserable work. But that being said, I'm Gar Seagroves. I respectfully request your vote, and I feel that I will do this county good. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We worked on the bell. For those of you that listen to the Thunder Radio Morning Show, this is the bell. Apparently, it's been rang too many times. It's broken. Mr. Seagroves, I understand. 2 minutes. Although it may be a hard question to answer without knowing the facts of the entire case, one inmate in the Coffee County Jail is nearing 7 years incarcerated for a pretrial misdemeanor. With the premise that all are innocent until proven guilty, do you believe the justice system in our county can move faster?
Is that current right now? Is that an actual fact? Okay. 7 years on did you say it was a pretrial misdemeanor? He definitely has a situation to file a motion for a speedy trial, I would suspect. Not knowing all the facts, I have no idea of how many attorneys he's had, whether he's fired attorneys. That happens often with inmates. Some inmates have to have mental health evaluations, and you have to go through all these processes. Now, 7 years is an extremely long time. In that situation, as a judge, I think that's where you would have to get the attorney who's representing him, the district attorney, together in chambers, sit down and figure out what's taking so long and get it on the docket and come up with a decision to rectify the situation. Now, if that is a misdemeanor that is still taking place in general sessions court, that would be an utter travesty. If it's a situation where one was bound over to circuit court, that would be out of my purview. And I don't know whether or not he's in circuit court or not at this point in time. Things do run a little bit slower in circuit court. That's been discussed previously. But I do not foresee that that would be an issue in general sessions court. That makes no sense whatsoever. But those are some of the underlying reasons that could take it that long. But there are ways to correct it, and that's by having a meeting of the minds and getting people together. And with my relationships with the district attorney's office, who I work with on a day-to-day basis, with the public defender's office, who I work with on a day-to-day basis, and also with the sheriff's department, and also with the people in the clerk's office, I feel I possess the skills to communicate, to get people together, to make sure that these type of things do not happen when they're brought to my attention. Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat that, or you got?
I think I remember. Okay. I think I remember the question. I would dismiss it forthright. If he's in jail on a misdemeanor, all he can get is 1129. He served 7 times that. If it's some sort of ego boost between somebody not to plea, you can just dismiss it because he has served all the sentence he could get on a misdemeanor 7 times over. I can't imagine that situation existing and not subjecting the county to substantial civil liability to not provide him a trial. So I would just dismiss it, and if the DA thinks it's wrong, they can appeal it.
And some of these questions are kind of the same because y'all are still judges or want to be. You heard this one. Maybe you were paying attention. You got your answer. According to the Sheriff Parton, about 80% of inmates in the Coffee County Jail are incarcerated on pretrial misdemeanors, which you kind of addressed a minute ago. When weighing the cost of housing inmates and the strain on county resources versus the safety of the community at large, do you view this as serving the intended purpose of the jail system?
Absolutely not. As was represented earlier, people are put in jail to make sure they show up for trial. And it's because, as Judge Jackson was quoted as saying, people are scared of them or people are mad at them. I'm used to working long hours. I can show up early. I was the first one, I think, through the door this morning. I had something to try. And I can stay late. We can work through all of these things and get those out that need to be out by either resolving their matter, get them to the state pen, get some sort of resolution to it. I'll work as long as anybody will stay in there with me and get that stuff done. I'm used to managing a plethora of cases in my civil practice, and I'll just stay as long as it takes because there's no reason for that. All of us are helping pay the expenses of the jail, and we need to resolve that with the help of Sheriff Parton and the District Attorney's Office, and I'll stay as long as they're willing to work.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Would you mind repeating the question? Would you mind repeating?
Sure. According to Sheriff Parton, about 80% of the inmates in Coffee County Jail are incarcerated on pretrial misdemeanors. When weighing the cost of housing inmates and the strain on county resources versus the safety of the community at large, do you view this as serving the intended purpose of the jail system?
The answer to that's no. I think there are ways to handle that situation when you have so many people who are in court or in jail, on pretrial misdemeanors. I've discussed this with people at the jail. There are ways, if it is in the General Sessions Court, a lot of misdemeanors have been moved up to circuit court for numerous reasons, such as they had probation violations in circuit court, so the misdemeanors were moved up in order to have a global resolution. But if it's a situation where it's in Sessions Court and it's a simple misdemeanor where no one's a threat, there are avenues such as doing ankle monitors. Now, that does have to somewhat come into agreement with the district attorney's office, but I believe there are ways to do that, which would save taxpayers a bunch of money. Ankle monitors are relatively cheap, they're available, and that's a way to ensure that someone is doing what they're supposed to do, which would be stay at home, go to work, and be a part of society until their matter got resolved. Having that many people in our jail is not a good thing. And if we get in there and work and process these situations and get ankle monitors or just come to a resolution, getting in early and staying late, it's a wonderful concept, but practicality, it's just not practical. You have to take into account clerks have to get there early, sheriff's deputies have to get there early, bailiffs have to get there early. It adds added expense. We can do it more economically with time that is available, and I think that's one process to consider as well. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next question, and Mr. Seagrove, you'll be going first. James in Manchester has a question for both candidates. He wants to know, how long have you been Republicans? Also, the Republican Party has criteria that the candidate must have voted in 3 of the last 4 statewide Republican primaries to qualify. Have you done this?
Yes, I have done that. I know there have been some questions as far as my being a Republican. I have voted in 3 or 4 of the last 4 or 5 primaries as a Republican. As a young man, my father was very active in the Democratic Party. Being a young man who idolized his father, I did as well. There's been much to do about me giving money to Governor Bredesen. I've seen it on social media. And for anybody who has been here for a period of time knows that Governor Bredesen was one of the best Republican governors the state's ever had. He was extremely pro-business. He did away with workers' comp, essentially. And he also came and visited my father in the hospital when he had cancer. And they were friends. as a result of that, I gave him money whenever he ran for anything. But that has changed over the years due to the fact that I am a gun nut. I have a ton of guns, and I do not foresee anybody taking those away. And that's one of the forefronts of the far left, and I just don't agree with it. Yes, for the last 5 years, I've been voting in Republican primaries, and I have supported local Republicans for the last 8 years because they're my friends, and I believe in what they do, and I do support them. That's all.
Second question, sir.
I have voted in the Republican primary the last 4 primaries. I probably, I believe in small government. Government can't solve all the people's problems, although I'm running for a job that attempts to manage people's problems. General Sessions Court does that, it manages people's problems. I think probably if you view small government and conservatism, I think if you probably look at me, I would do that, but that's for you to judge. I live in the same house I moved into in 1991. I've got a 2001 Ford Ranger, 400,000 miles. If somebody doesn't want change, I'm your man.
All right, gentlemen, we have time for one more question, and this is one that we've heard before. If you're currently running a successful private practice law firm, why would you want to leave that and run for judge? And this is
I'm at the point where I've been an advocate for so long, and it wears you down trying to move the needle rather than be fair. I think it's a whole lot easier to be fair and balance things. It does require a lot of work and a lot of intellect, but advocating for positions that people have been increasingly, over my 30 years, have been increasingly polarized about what they want and difficult to accept compromise. It's just something that I think that it's easier, although it's hard to balance a lot of the things. The divorce matters, the orders of protection matters, the termination of parental rights. That's not going to be an easy thing, but it's good. I would like the opportunity to be fair rather than continue to be an advocate and have to push something one way or the other and measure success about things that may or may not be fair. In this job, I've been on both sides of numerous things. I've been on both sides. I've never prosecuted a criminal case in General Sessions Court. I prosecute them in city court as city attorney. And I've been municipal court judge, and I like the ability to be fair and to listen to both sides and try to reach a reasonable resolution of matter rather than being an advocate for one side or the other.
I made this decision some time ago in an attempt to run for this office. I started thinking about it 3 or 4 years ago, and sat in court and would think, what would I do in that situation? Sometimes I agreed with the judge, whoever it may be, Judge Linsinger, or I wouldn't. But you start thinking, I can do this job. I have the knowledge. I know I like to work, and I can make these hard decisions. It also takes a bit of being able to speak your mind, and I can do that sometimes to a fault. This is just a position that I feel would be an honor to get, it would be an honor to hold, and it's something that I would like to do for this county. I think I'll do a good job. Thank you.
All right, we'll give each candidate 2 minutes to close if you want it. Mr. Seagroves, go first.
Again, my name is Gar Seagroves. I'm running for Coffee County General Sessions Court Part 2. This is the second time that we've been up here and talked to a crowd, and you've heard a lot of the same things, and you've heard some new things. The one thing is that everybody brings their own best interest to this position, their own qualifications, I should say. I want this job because I have done it for since 2009, last 13 years when I went on my own. I'm in court all the time in Coffee County. I spent a lot of time in Franklin County. Spent a lot of time in Bedford County, Moore County, and Lincoln County. I have seen how other courts are run. I have seen how other judges handle their courtrooms. I feel I have the ability to implement the good to help make this court system move more economical. I also feel I have the ability to bring people together. And by that, I mean getting more conversation between the different parties who are in front of you, such as the public defender's office, the DA's office, and the private bar. It's not, right now, a lot of things are getting held up because people just can't agree on what to do. We just need to put timelines down to have hearings, to have preliminary hearings, and either get the case settled or bind it over and get it to circuit court. I have those qualifications, and I look forward to your support. Respectfully ask for your vote. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Yule, 2 minutes.
I'm Gerald Yule Jr., and I would respectfully and humbly ask for your support and vote for General Sessions Judge. I think, as I explained about the numerous cases General Sessions Court handles, that I have the experience and the willingness to delve into all of those. They go from, and I know there was some discussion earlier about the backlog in circuit court. Circuit court and circuit judges handle divorces too. General Sessions Court has divorce jurisdiction, which has been little utilized. We can't make people file divorce cases in General Sessions Court, but if they did, or if circuit court could talk litigants into transferring them there, that would alleviate part of the burden and would also help the burden and backlog in cases. I've handled the orders of protection. I've handled numerous civil matters, evictions, a number of things, misdemeanor criminal, search and seizure matters, all those. My breadth of experience well qualifies me to do this. I hope I have demonstrated tonight by not ever having the bell rung on me that I deal things efficiently. And so we've all talked about efficiency and efficiency in the courtroom, and I would like to apply that skill to handling matters and getting them in and out. People that need to be out of the jail, people that need to be in the pen, to the pen. Thank you.
All right, that does it for our second segment. Mr. Yule and Mr. Seagroves, thank you for coming out tonight. All right, for our folks listening on Thunder Radio, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with candidates for District Attorney General. It's Thunder Radio.
Friends, it's time for a change. Hello, I'm Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent. For over 35 years, I've built and maintained roads all over Middle Tennessee. I'm ready to put that experience and expertise to work for you as your Coffee County Road Superintendent. I know how to lead, and I know how to get things done. Friends, it's time for a change. Vote Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time for our next segment of candidates. We have two on the stage, and they're both candidates for District Attorney General here in Coffee County. We have Craig Northcott, incumbent, and Felicia Walkup, who is challenging him in the primary. We tossed a coin, and General Northcott said he wants to go first. He'll have opening statements for 2 minutes.
Good evening. I am Craig Northcott, and I'm seeking re-election for district attorney. When I stood up here asking for y'all's vote and be entrusted with this important duty 8 years ago, I promised you that I'd bring strong Christian leadership to the position. I submit to you, I stand before you tonight having proven that I'm a man of my word. I have, in fact, brought that to the office of district attorney. In doing so, we have become a intentionally victim-focused DA's office. We are empathetic with the harm done by criminals to those in our community. We work hard every day to protect their rights and to seek justice for them. We also have been sympathetic to the plight of defendants. Now, I made sure that we will deal with violent criminals, repeat offenders, firmly but fairly. But they need to go to prison sometimes. They also have many that come through the system that need grace and mercy and a helping hand to get out of their situation. Based upon the Christian values that we all know from the Bible, I've implemented policies, procedures, and have demonstrated through my own actions how to tell the difference between the two. We have, in fact, worked on moving cases more efficiently through the system. I suspect I'll get a few questions about that this evening. I look forward to addressing it. But I am asking for your vote so that we can continue to build on the progress that we've made and continue to seek justice in everything that we do and continue in our mission, that is, to do the right thing in every single case. I ask for your vote.
All right, Ms. Walkup.
I'm Felicia Walkup, and I'm running for District Attorney General here in Coffee County, Tennessee. After our last debate, I was informed that I had left out a little bit of information that folks wanted to know. I had it in my notes. I didn't look at my notes, so I missed it. I do need to correct that to begin with. I have been living here in Coffee County for the last 13 years. There were some folks that said, well, how long have you lived here? I forgot to tell them that. I live out in the New Union area. I live close enough to the interstate that I can be in town very quickly, but I also live wonderfully out in the country. I grew up in the country. I love to get up in the mornings, step out on my back deck, see the field. My neighbor has horses. I'm a country girl at heart. I also forgot to mention that I worked as an assistant district attorney for 11 years of my over nearly 17-year career here in Coffee County under General Mickey Lane. Mickey Lane was the one who gave me the opportunity to come to work as a prosecutor. He gave me that opportunity, and I will forever be grateful to General Lane for that. He took a chance on me. He took a chance on me after he was urged, quite frankly, by members of law enforcement. He was also urged by certain members of the bar to take a chance on me. He did, and I truly found my calling in my professional life, and that is to be a prosecutor. I think my record will show you that I am tough but fair. I think my record will show you that I want to work with law enforcement to solidify cases on the front end so they can move quickly through our system. That I want to be open to listen to the defense bar. If there's something that law enforcement has missed, that our office has missed, to be open, to listen to them, to give it consideration in terms of making a settlement offer, in terms of pushing a case to trial. I'm humbly asking for your vote, and I thank you all for your attendance and participation, both in person and listening on the radio. Thank you.
All right, first question, and Ms. Walker, this will be your turn. This question comes from Philip, a Manchester resident. He says, I'm worried about the law being fair to all citizens of this county and that equal rights may not be applied to everyone. My question is, how do you as a candidate interpret the Establishment Clause, speaking, of course, about the First Amendment?
I think the best way that I can answer that question is to urge you to go and look at the oath that the district attorney takes. The district attorney takes an oath. The assistant district attorneys take an oath. You will raise your right hand and you will swear to uphold the laws of the United States, the state of Tennessee. Those laws are whether you like them or not. Those laws are for everyone. Those laws are for the people that have a different religion than you. Those laws are for the same people that have a different skin color than you. They're for the people who think differently than you. Those laws are to be applied fairly and across the board to everyone in our system. Do we always like it? No, we don't. We all have our own individual ideas. But as a prosecutor, it is your duty. You swear that you will uphold those laws, that those laws will be applied equally. Again, I am a God-fearing woman. I am a Christian. But I also know in this county, there are those who are not. There are those who do not share the same ideas as far as religion that I do. The laws are here to protect them as well. As a prosecutor, I will seek to do that. I will at times suffer in doing that. I understand that. But it's the right thing to do. Because if the table is turned, and someday a prosecutor is not a Christian, I would hope that that prosecutor would uphold my rights, would protect me as the law demands.
Thank you. Mr. Northcott, would you like me to repeat that question?
The law is to be applied fairly, regardless of whatever status, whether it be race, gender, socioeconomic, sexual orientation. It does not matter. I think my track record will show you that I have, in fact, done that, and I demand that of my staff. There are certain things that you can do as a district attorney to make sure that that happens in every case. One of the things I realized I was doing without even thinking about it was I don't ask for anything but the facts. When a police officer calls me and says, we have this situation, run the facts by me. It's a high profile case. I began realizing that when the media was calling, I didn't know the name of the person because I didn't ask. That's not relevant in determining what to do. Certainly didn't know the gender, didn't know race, didn't know religion. I just want to know the facts. Little things like that help you make sure that you're applying the law fairly. I also was investigated for 2 years under false allegations that because I'm a Christian, I can't be fair to others. 2 years, they looked at every case my office handled. You know what they found at the end of those 2 years? 0 instances where we mistreated anyone based upon any factor that is irrelevant in determining what justice should be. Because of that, the case against me was thrown out for no legal or factual support. I have a proven track record of treating everyone fairly.
All right, Mr. Northcott, this question will go to you first. Would Coffee County benefit from moving into a judicial district with more counties like several other counties our size? Why or why not?
This might be the easiest one of the night. No, we would not benefit from that. We have a great privilege in this judicial district that we're a county of less than 60,000 people that is a judicial district all unto itself. And what does that afford us? That affords us 4 judges who are nothing but here in Coffee County. It affords us a district attorney who is nothing but in Coffee County. It affords us a public defender who is nothing but in Coffee County. If you add counties to it, you start spreading yourself thin. And that, of course, would decrease the efficiency of the system. So absolutely not. We would not benefit by adding counties. I was part of the effort, the most recent effort to fight changing our judicial district to include additional counties. I'm so happy that we are privileged to be a single county judicial district.
Ms. Walkup, same question.
In all candor, this is going to be a very brief answer. Mr. Northcott is absolutely correct on that. Coffee County has a very unique distinction throughout the entire state. The single county districts, the other single county districts, Shelby County, Memphis, Davidson County, Nashville, Knox County, Knoxville. Do you see a trend? The large metropolitan areas. Coffee County is a rural, single county district. If we are joined with other counties, absolutely, it will produce more demands on the justice system, more demands on the district attorney's office, more demands on the public defender's office, more demands on the judges. No doubt about it. Folks, you're privileged to be where you are and to be a single county. What that means is there's no excuse not to get the work done.
Ms. Walkup, this question is for you. When DA Northcott was elected in 2014, before taking office, he dismissed you from your position as Assistant District Attorney. What was the reasoning provided for that decision, and did that factor into your decision to run?
In 2014, Mr. Northcott was elected District Attorney General. I had a meeting with him, an individual meeting with him. I had just tried a case, I think 2 days prior to my meeting. I was still working. Mr. Northcott and I chatted, I believe by phone, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Northcott and I had some discussion about the things that I did as a prosecutor. Mr. Northcott asked me specifically why I could not get along with one defense attorney in the county. As a prosecutor, I was simply doing my job. Mr. Northcott told me I had made a decision to go ahead with a worthless check charge against one of his clients. I sat with the statute. I read the statute. Mr. Northcott believed, look, this is a civil matter. It was unusual. I read the statute. The facts fit the worthless check statute. I told Mr. Northcott, you folks may need to fight over this in civil court, but it fits the statute. I'm willing to dismiss the charge if your client pays restitution, and then if you so believe, you may go and deal with this in civil court. Mr. Northcott's client did, in fact, pay restitution. The case was dismissed. He told me specifically it was that day that he decided he was going to go pick up his papers. It was that day because I refused to disobey the statute. That's all I can tell you about that. Did it affect my decision to run? Absolutely not. If you want proof, go to the election commission. I picked up papers first to run for that judge position. That's what I picked up my papers for. I thought, I've been doing this for a while. See about the judge thing. As I started that process, I kept hearing over and over and over again, we wish you would run for DA. We wish you would run for DA. Here I am.
General Northcott, what was the reason or reasons for dismissing a sitting district attorney? Would that mean that you think that Ms. Walkup isn't a good fit for a job such as district attorney?
I'm very reticent to answer this question, frankly. I think personnel decisions are private matters, and I go to great lengths to keep it that way. Yes, the case you described is not quite the way I remember it, but that was one of the many cases that I'd handled with Ms. Walkup over the years where she seemed unable to understand that her job is not to get a conviction, but to do the right thing. That there is prosecutorial discretion that we have to exercise correctly. And my problem was that I saw an attitude that reflected, as she just explained, if the book says it's a crime, I'm going to enforce it no matter what. No matter if it's fair, no matter if it is a situation where a man wrote a check for a car that was a lemon and he stopped payment on it, no criminal history, I'm going to convict him of a felony. That was her position. She wanted to convict a man for passing a worthless counterfeit bill to a gambling operation. I have a problem with that. That's not showing good discretion. I sat down with her face to face in my office. I discussed these reservations with her. I asked her straight out 3 times in that meeting, do you want to work for me? And what her answer was all 3 times? I don't know. As a future employer, what am I to do with that? I felt I had no choice but to tell her, I passed my job interview. I'm not going to have a job interview with you every single day. I think it's best for us to part ways. It was a hard decision. It's not a decision I wanted to make, but I felt like I had no choice, and I made the best decision I could for the citizens of Coffee County.
Last question. General Northcott, you're first. List 2 or 3 priorities for enhancing or improving the district attorney's office over the next 8 years, and how do you plan to attack those?
Well, first thing we need to do is we've got a lot of backlog in the system. I came in and we worked hard. We came in with 40, 50, 60 page dockets 4 days a week. And we got those pared down to 20, 30 page dockets within about the space of 4 years. And that was done by a lot of work, by working with the judges to rework our calendars, our trial dockets, how we did that. Then COVID hit and we got right back, if not worse, than we were before. We got to work our way through it again. And I have no doubt that we can do that. So that has got to be a priority right now, is to get that backlog taken care of. The other thing that is a priority to me is identifying and building upon existing relationships so we can better serve victims in this community. I hurt for victims, and praying for them in our office, counseling with them, crying with them, and then having to say, I have nothing to offer you as far as a support system past this. We have great victim witness coordinators within our office who work hard every day, but our resources in this community are limited. That is a priority for me, is trying to find partners in that to better serve victims in our community. So those are 2 things that I would point out in the time that I have.
Ms. Walkup, would you like me to repeat that question? Thank you.
2 or 3 priorities for improving the district attorney's office. I don't have 2 or 3 priorities. I have a lot. I understand that, quite frankly, it's too ambitious. First priority, get 2 victim advocates in place. 1 for domestic violence cases, 1 for elder abuse cases. Folks, you have no idea. You have no idea how much elder abuse is going on, and it's undetected. I've seen it over and over and over. And you want to talk about heart-wrenching? Go and talk to family members who see their loved ones taken advantage of, who see their loved ones left sometimes in the most deplorable of conditions to die alone. We can do better. We must do better. We need a victim advocate to work within our system, to work with law enforcement, to work with adult protective services, to identify these as early as we possibly can. 2 priorities. Again, domestic violence advocate and also elder abuse advocate. Secondly, we've talked about recovery courts a little bit with our judges. Our recovery courts need to be utilized. Our recovery courts need to be targeted for people who do have a true addiction, not for people who are drug dealers. We need to be able to distinguish that on the front end. We need the assistance of law enforcement to help us as a community, as prosecutors, as the court system as a whole, to find out who's the addict, who do we need to help, who do we need to get into recovery court here locally to provide them with that support system, who do we need to identify as a drug dealer, and they need to be put away. They need to be removed from our community. Those are simply a few of my priorities that I want to implement as your elected district attorney for the betterment of all of Coffee County.
All right, we've got 1 minute for closing arguments here. We'll let Ms. Walkup go first. Sorry, you just sat back down.
I just briefly want to state, Mr. Northcott and I recall things differently. The worthless check case we were talking about, if you recall, my offer to Mr. Northcott was to dismiss it. To dismiss it. And that is what happened. No, I did not say, I'm going to put a felony on your client. My offer, dismiss it, pay the restitution, and if you believe it's civil, go fight the battle in civil court. Ladies and gentlemen, early voting starts next week. Time is short. I am available. If you have questions, seek me out. If there's something left here today, she didn't answer this, find me. I urge you to get in touch with me if you need to. My number is on file with the Election Commission. I've told folks, if you have a question, I will do my best to make contact with you personally within 24 hours. I cannot promise you that I will. I'm still juggling my workload, and I will continue to juggle my workload. Early voting starts next week. I humbly ask for your vote. May 3rd is the primary. Felicia Walkup for District Attorney of Coffee County. Thank you.
All right, General Northcott, about a minute.
I want to leave y'all with this tonight. There is a significant difference between the office of District Attorney and the position of Assistant District Attorney. Both positions require strong trial skills. Over 25 years of trial practice, I have proven time and time again that I have those skills. Ms. Walkup indicates she has the same. But what a district attorney has to do beyond that, we have to manage the largest, most important law office in Coffee County. We have to be able to figure out ways to make the system work more fairly and more efficiently. We have to be able to determine what is the best option, what is the best choice in every single situation, not just for the present, but for the future. God has uniquely qualified me for this position. I have run my own law office for over 20 years now. I have that experience. I have that discernment. I have proven it time and time again. I ask for you to continue to place your faith in me. I ask that you vote to re-elect Craig Northcott. Thank you.
All right, we'd like to thank our candidates for District Attorney, Mr. Northcott and Ms. Walkup, for coming out tonight. For our folks listening on Thunder Radio, we're going to take a quick break to get our next folks up here. It'll be Circuit Court Clerk Thank you for listening to Thunder Radio.
Hi, my name's Bobby Carter, and I'm asking for your vote in the Circuit Court Judgeship of Coffee County, 2nd Division. I grew up in Tullahoma. I attended the Citadel and the University of Tennessee Law School. After that, I served my country as an officer in the United States Navy JAG Corps. Since then, I've been a trial lawyer in Coffee County for the last 25 years. I feel that I have the legal and life experiences to protect the citizens of this county over the next 8-year term. I would appreciate your vote in the May 3rd Republican primary. Thank y'all.
I am tremendously blessed to be living at Parkview and very happy to be part of a loving and caring community.
Best thing you can say is this really a great place to live. That's all there is to it, no doubt about that.
It's your home. You just do what you would if you were at your private home. You know, we love it. It's great.
It's just like having a whole neighborhood around you, and it's fun.
It's just a great place to live.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, welcome back. Our next set of candidates are for Circuit Court Clerk. We have Jenny Anthony and Josh Morris. We have flipped a coin. Jenny Anthony will go first. She has 2 minutes for opening comments.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Anthony, the Circuit Court Clerk for Coffee County. There is no better background or qualification than successfully serving in the position as Circuit Court Clerk. This past year, alongside my supportive staff that is here tonight, I have 22 years of office experience. In 2019, I did enroll in Montlow while working full-time. Being a full-time mother, I have a 4.0 GPA. These qualities set me apart from my opponent. I have proven my leadership skills over the last 6 years at the Circuit Court Clerk's office. I was quickly promoted to Chief Deputy Clerk. Most importantly, I have been Circuit Court Clerk for over 1 year after my appointment by the Coffee County Commission. This change in leadership presented an opportunity for reform and modernization. As Circuit Court Clerk, I have continuously sought more efficient ways to improve access to the service we provide, connect to our customers with empathy, confidentiality, to serve the community, and protect public trust. I have made tough decisions to ensure all these components were in place. Just within the last year, I have implemented employee wage increases without budget increase, a completed computer conversion, saving the county thousands, cross-training and combined departments to improve communication and efficiency, online document access for attorneys and judges, approved text message notification system for criminal defendants, reducing our criminal dockets, approved e-citation for juvenile court, all which have improved efficiency and customer service while maintaining a $1 million plus budget. Currently, I am working on following modernizations for our office through e-filing, kiosk locations throughout the county, online jury orientation, making it more convenient so jurors will not have to attend jury orientation in person, and improving our website to better inform jurors and the citizens.
Thank you. Josh Morris, 2 minutes.
The successful business leader changes jobs 12 times in his or her career. On an average, every 3 to 5 years. With each change, a leader acquires new skills, new knowledge, advancement in practice, and better efficiencies, and takes this with him or her to help them improve the next organization. Why do I tell you this? In May, Coffee County citizens will elect 2 new judges, and for the first time in our history, have 3 judges who have been on the bench for less than 1 year. Our court system will undergo a great deal of change. I will use my leadership and work experience to help facilitate this transition in a positive, economical way. In addition, I will look for ways to increase efficiency and better inform the public of daily activities of the court system. Why should voters cast their ballots for me? My previous employers would tell you that I'm hardworking, a high performer, and continually look for ways to help the organization grow and develop. Have a positive attitude and a desire to help people. The people who work beside me on a daily basis would tell you that I am compassionate, an unselfish person, the ability to stay calm in high-pressure situations, to make informed decisions that affect the greater good. The people who I've coached will tell you I treat everyone with respect and help them to grow to their greatest potential. I will create an atmosphere in the circuit court clerk's office that is challenging, rewarding, and a positive environment for employees, customers, and all citizens of Coffee County. I would appreciate your vote for Josh Morris, Coffee County Circuit Court Clerk. I will work hard to serve you efficiently, compassionately, and ensure you receive the help you need.
All right, thank you very much to both of you. This question will go to Mr. Morris first. Prior to leaving office in early 2021, Heather Hines Duncan served as Circuit Court Clerk and was elected by the people of Coffee County 7 different times. Would you say your desire to run for this office is to continue the work that Mrs. Duncan did, or would you say that your desire to run for this office is to change or alter the way that she ran the office?
Luckily, I have the pleasure of working with Ms. Duncan. During that time, I was able to work in all 3 different courts. I clerked in every office. I worked with each judge, Judge Letzinger, Judge Brock, Judge Jackson. My goal is to make the office better. My whole career, I've been able to come into a business or place of employment and make that business better. I'm a people person. I help people. I have a servant's heart. My goal would be to make the office like an office nobody has seen in the last 20 years. That is my goal, and that's what I intend to do.
Ms. Anthony, same question. Would you like me to repeat that, or you got it? Okay, thank you.
I also had the pleasure of working under Ms. Duncan. I have very much respect for her. She was a wonderful boss. She inspired me to want to one day be in this position, and here I am. I don't foresee a lot of changes as far as inside the office goes. There was a lot of things that Ms. Duncan, the family atmosphere that we had, a lot of things that she offered to employees. She understood what it was like for women, for a working mom, and allowed us to take time off when needed. So those are like really good things that those need to stay, and I'll continue to keep those that way. Family atmosphere, we have that, and I don't want to lose that. As far as the functions of the office goes, with time changing, things need to be updated, modernizations, and that's a lot of what I've done so far this past year. And I'm covered a lot of ground in 1 year. I would like to be able to show you and prove to you what I can do in 4 more years. We have a lot more to do and a lot more ground to cover, and I'm super excited about it. I'm very passionate about what we do, and I know the staff that we have there, they're very willing to learn, and without them, the court wouldn't work. I have the pleasure of, thank you. Yes, give them a hand of applause because it's very much deserved. But those ladies sitting right there, that's why I'm here tonight. Thank you.
You would think I could keep 2 people still. Count to 2, Rob. For the layman who may not understand the importance of the circuit court clerk's office, or even what it does, give an elevator pitch of what your primary responsibilities of circuit court clerk?
Well, there's
are?
so many. But mainly, we are record keepers of the court. It is our main goal to keep those records, to keep them safe, to keep them recorded correctly. We also are over the docket, grading the every time we have court. These clerks here, they're making the dockets. They're ensuring that the files and everything that needs to go to court for that day are there. We are there to support our judges and make sure that our judges have everything that they need when court is in session. We also do a lot of recording during court, and we're there. We file things. We're there to serve the public. There's just so many things. I could go on and on that clerks do. There's probably just not enough time.
Laura, same question.
I don't think people realize the magnitude of what all happens in the clerk's office. I would put money on it. Out of every department in the county, the clerk's office has the biggest responsibility of taking care of those records and court documents and actually working for the citizens of Coffee County. Luckily, I have been blessed to also work with the majority of the clerks that's in the office now. And in my previous talk that we had, one thing that I brought up is you're only as good as the people that work for you. And I stand behind that. Also with that, being the circuit court clerk, you're a manager, you're a leader of that department. You're the face when people need help or they need problems resolved, you're that person. With the leadership and my experience in management, pretty much my whole career, 18 years, I've been blessed to be able to lead people. I've been able to inspire people. I've been able to help people. I have a servant's heart. And that's one main reason that I'm running for the circuit court clerk's position, is to give back to the community and do something in that office that nobody else has seen.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, you'll go first on this one. What effect, if any, do you believe partisan political affiliation has in the office of circuit court clerk?
To be honest, I think it's about your personality. It's the person that you represent, not a party that you represent or an organization that you represent. Yes, those have values that represent me as a person, but as a whole, me as a person is a totally different than Ms. Anthony or anybody else that's here in this forum with us. With that, my background and experience, the people that know me know who I am. The people that don't know me, if you would just get a chance to talk to other people about me, my leadership skills, my role as a person, I'm a positive person for young people in our community. So to that, the question that you asked, a party or an organization doesn't define me as a person. How my raising was and how my parents raised me and my values and what I've done in my professional career is what has defined me up to this point. And I'm very proud of who I am today.
Thank you. Ms. Anthony, same question.
I don't believe that party affiliation has anything to do at all with the position of circuit court clerk. I feel like as a clerk, we are in a position where we are non-biased. That is with the court cases that come through. That is with the judges. That is with sitting in court. You can't show your feelings toward one way or another. So I feel like as far as the position goes, party affiliation does not have anything to do with that at all. As a person, I feel like it is important for the public to know what your values are, what your characteristics are, what you believe in. And as far as voting that type of person into this office, I think it's important to know what their values are and what they believe in. Thank you.
All right, last question. Ms. Anthony, you'll go first. This question comes to us from Dave in Tullahoma. Simple question. Why are you running for office instead of pursuing a career in the private sector?
Well, that's a good question. I worked in the dental field for several years, most of my adult life. I reached a place in my life that I was searching, and upon being hired at the Circuit Court Clerk's office, I knew I found my place. I became very passionate about the job and what we did and the service we provide, and I just knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing. I never questioned it. I was never persuaded. Another opportunity. I had opportunities that offered me more money. My husband is also a county employee. I mean, we're not planning on getting rich by serving Coffee County. He's in law enforcement, and I worked at the clerk's office. But that's okay. We made those sacrifices, made it work because we both love what we do. So I'm just very passionate about the office and the service we provide.
Morris, same question.
I feel like my life has come full circle. When I was at the clerk's office for five years, I left for a brief time because I was trying to help my family financially. After being away for a month, I absolutely hated it. I made a phone call and asked if the position was filled. It was not, and I was able to come back and work at the clerk's office. During that time, I went through a divorce, which if anybody's been through a divorce, you know how messy or how bad it can get and how devastating it can be. I had 50-50 custody of my kids, primary parent. During that time, when I come back to the clerk's office, I picked up a second job to help support my family. The last time that I'd left the clerk's office was for promotion or to be able to work in the healthcare field. I come back one time for the summer. A lot of people don't realize this, but a healthcare company was paying me to stay home for the summer, just for 3 or 4 months until their office was open. During that time, I reached out to Ms. Duncan and asked her, "Do you need help during the summer at the clerk's office?" That is the third time that I come back just part-time with having a full-time job. During the time that I've been away in healthcare, it has provided me so much knowledge, understanding of what it is to be a leader, what it is to help people, what it is to inspire people. And luckily, I'm in this position now to hopefully, come May 3rd, be your next circuit court clerk. I've talked to this way back when I was working for Ms. Duncan. Do you feel this would be something I could do later in life? She told me yes. And that's when I come to her and said, please train me in every department. Give me all the knowledge that you know and that you have in this office. If anybody knows, sometimes things happen to you in life that you can't control. Sometimes you have to do what's best for your family. But luckily, I'm in a position now. And I don't regret anything that I've done because it has prepared me to take over as circuit court clerk here in Coffee County.
All right, thank you, Mr. Morris. We'll do 2 minutes apiece if you want it for closing. Josh, you'll go first.
If you're looking for a circuit court clerk who has recently worked in the business world and is aware of best practices and the importance of efficiency, technology, and communication, then I'm your choice for circuit court clerk. Bottom lines are important in the business world, and they should be important in government too. I love the circuit court clerk's office and the people that work there. I have for over 12 years. I will lead it in a way that serves you and makes you feel at home when you come to our office. People who know me know that I'm a kind person, I'm a hard worker, and I have the genuine desire to help other people. I ask for your vote for Josh Morris, Circuit Court Clerk, and I greatly appreciate your time this afternoon.
All right, thank you. Ms. Anthony?
I would like voters to do your research and know who you're voting for before you cast your vote. Please take in consideration that I have covered a lot of ground this year, and this office has made a lot of good progress, and we're doing a great job. I'm very proud of our team and what all we have done so far. And currently, the things that I am working on, I'd like to see those to completion. This is just 1 year of progress, and I would just like you to consider what all we've done, and I would like to ask for your vote for us to continue making good, strong decisions for this office for Coffee County citizens for the next 4 years. I'm Jenny Anthony, the Circuit Court Clerk.
All right, thank you to our candidates, Mrs. Anthony and Mr. Morris, for coming out. I'm going to take a quick break on the radio side. We'll have our next group of candidates for road superintendent next. You're listening to Thunder Radio.
Friends, it's time for a change. Hello, I'm Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent. Our highway department is one of the largest departments in Coffee County government, with 640 miles of roads and bridges and budget of $3 million. It's time we start applying for grants. It's time we start using modern road building and maintaining techniques. Friends, it's time for a change. Vote Scott Hansard, Republican candidate for Coffee County Road Superintendent.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody back to the church at 117. Real quick before we move on to our next set of candidates, big thank you to Steve West and his team here at the church. They've done an excellent job of setting everything up for us, and they handle all the sound, and we appreciate them for this amazing venue that we have here in Manchester. Our next group of candidates for road superintendent, we have incumbent Benton Bartlett and Scott Hansard. After coin toss, Mr. Hansard will go first. For opening statements, you got 2 minutes.
Thank you, Josh. Well, I'm Scott Hansard. I'm running for Coffee County Road Superintendent. I plan on putting 35 years of construction and road building experience to work for all of Coffee County. My experience covers a vast number of projects all over Middle Tennessee, including installation of the Manchester Industrial Park, where the cheese plant is, rebuilding a runway in Shelbyville. And my biggest project, I guess, here in Manchester that all of y'all drive down every day is the supervision of the exit 111A exit ramp. My knowledge is working with TDOT
in road building, the ins and outs and the latest technology in roads, all the different types of signs that there are, the LED signs that can go out in the areas, in the high accident areas. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a change. It's for new ideas and a new way of our highway department should be run, starting with grants. Not all grants are involving receiving money. Some of our grants are educational, purpose and awareness and prevention of such as distracted driving, where we have 5,600 drivers in Coffee County between the ages of 15 and 24. Distracted driving is a very important thing to me. As most of you know, I lost a son in 2003 to distracted driving. The safety of our kids in Coffee County is very important to me. We have a budget of $3 million, and any grant that we can get would be beneficial to our community. I'm very active in our community, especially with building of the Crefton Hansard Memorial Hitting Facility at the high school, where our girls' baseball and softball teams are playing. Our county is growing very fast, and I plan to help and plan on doing the 640 miles that we have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That was Scott Hansard. Next, Benton Bartlett, 2 minutes.
I'm Benton Bartlett, and I'm running for re-election for the Coffee County Road Superintendent. I'm going to use this time to bring up some accurate numbers concerning budget and finances in the road department. Starting with grants. If you define grants as money you receive that you don't have to pay back, then I've gotten several of them. And all have gone into roads, bridges, and road safety. To apply for any grants that do not have anything to do with roads is considered time taken away from your duties as road superintendent. Next, concerning state aid money that comes from state gas tax through TDOT. That money is distributed to each county through a strict formula, so each county gets treated fairly. To go after more state aid money means you would be cheating another county out of their money, which is not ethical or legal. Coffee County is allotted $200,000 for roads and $50,000 for bridges per year through state aid. You must have a project that is approved by TDOT to get that money. The county has to come up with 2% matching funds. In other words, if you spend $1 million, the state pays $980,000 and the county pays $20,000. I try my best to take advantage of that deal and keep that state aid money working. Keep in mind it costs $100,000 a mile to pave a state aid project, and bridges can cost at least $250,000 and can cost in excess of $1 million. State aid money does accumulate. If you have a 6-mile road you want to pave, you will have to wait 3 years to accumulate that money. Budget comes up a lot in these debates. The budget is around $3 million. One of the biggest costs in the budget is not all that different from most businesses, and that's payroll. The payroll for the county highway is in excess of $1 million and growing. In the summer, Coffee County needs a road superintendent that is careful with every penny that is allotted to run the department, and I've proven that I can do just that.
All right, gentlemen. Again, I want to remind you we have some questions that have been submitted to us by listeners to Thunder Radio and readers of the website. This first question goes to Mr. Bartlett. What top 3 accomplishments do you feel are at the top of your resume for your time as road superintendent?
One of the first ones is updating and upgrading equipment that we use there at the highway department. I've purchased several new pieces of equipment, and I've refurbished a lot of our older equipment, which has made us much more efficient and saved the county a lot of money by redoing some of that equipment. And some of the newer equipment just makes our job much easier. So easier, better, getting more done, and saving the county money.
Thank you. Mr. Hansard, what top 3 accomplishments in your line of work at the top of your resume that qualifies you for this job?
Well, Rob, I guess the biggest one for me, with it being in my hometown, was building the exit 111 exit ramp over here. I live here. That was something that was very important to me. I spent 9 months on that project. Spent $1.6 million on it, and we just, recently they put lights on it, and that was something that I was very, very proud of. One of the things that I did the industrial park where the cheese plant is, out off of Asbury Airport Road, where a lot of industry is moving into, and it's been a valuable part for our county and Manchester as far as employment. And whenever we drive out there, I put all the infrastructure in, the pump station, the water, built the roads, basically everything that's out there until the cheese plant came in, I put in. And that's something, those two things that I'm very proud of. And I think that's very suits me for this job.
Thank you. Mr. Bartlett, this will be your turn. Sorry, Mr. Hansard, this is your turn. You think I've had this down by now, right? With the highway department's budget of approximately $3 million, how do you prioritize managing nearly 700 miles of roadway in Coffee County on a yearly basis? And is that budget sustainable for the growing infrastructure needs of Coffee County?
Well, first of all, we have got to take care of our roads by taking care of our ditches and making sure that our roads draining. If our roads is not draining, guys, we can't have a road. That's what causes our roads to have potholes. Potholes are caused because of water. Mr. Bartlett referred to a while ago is our employees employment being over $1 million. Our operators last year in the budget for the 2022 is $700,056, $300,000 away from $1 million. I plan on trying to bring the grants and stuff to help us with making our roads better. Plan on trying to asphalt roads instead of tar and chipping them. Our tar and chipping, we are mostly one of the only counties around us that even tar and chips anymore. There's different ways of asphalting that takes care, and it's a whole lot better of a road, and it drains a lot better, and it's a lot more feasible to have asphalt roads instead of tar and chip, because ultimately the tar and chip roads, they tear up quicker. It costs a little bit more to asphalt them, but they last longer. The average asphalt road lasts between 10 to 15 years, and you don't have that with tar and chips.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bartlett, same question. Would you like me to? With the highway department's budget of approximately $3 million, how do you prioritize managing the nearly 700 miles of roadway in Coffee County on a yearly basis? And is that budget sustainable for the growing infrastructure needs in Coffee County?
The budget is $3 million. That's a fact. In the summer, you have 6 tractors mowing ditches all year long. All season long, all grass growing seasons. Probably starts around April. But the paving crew, he's talking about tar and chip, is a third the cost of asphalt. You can either leave a road that mainly needs sealed, chip seal. The TDOT actually does that before they put a layer over some of their roads because it does such a good job sealing roads. And it's much cheaper. You can either get more roads done, at least sealed off to keep potholes out, or you can spend the extra money on hot mix. Hot mix does a better job and it does last longer. It should last 20 years. Tar and chip roads, we have some that's lasted 10 or 15 years. Some of them don't. Depends on the base. $3 million doesn't go very far. And there's, the best I can figure, we need at least another $1 million a year to sustain our roads and to actually get ahead. Right now, we're doing all we can do to keep our roads in good shape. And I would love to hot mix more of them, but they're much more expensive to repair than a tar and chip road. In all things being said, chip sealing is the most economical way to fix a road. Tar and hot mix is the best, but money's not there. You just can't hot mix everything.
Okay, Mr. Hansard, you're next. Mr. Bartlett says tar and chip cost is 1/3 of asphalt. How do you propose covering that cost? Writing's bad.
Let's do this. In 2020, the Highway Department spent $328,000, $328,868 on liquid asphalt. The next year, in 2021, we spent $434,098 on liquid asphalt. This year, we've got in the budget of $400,000 for liquid asphalt. It takes 500 tons of asphalt to do a mile. That's about an 8-foot wide stretch. It's about $80 a ton. That takes about, that's about $80,000 a mile. If you take that $400,000, how far will that go in asphalt? If you was to asphalt a road, pretty good ways. You don't have a road that's water stands on it in the wintertime. It ponds because water can't run off of it. Tar and chip roads, water stands on it, it's not going to run off. And if you got to keep the roads, the ditches between them, you got to keep the ditches cleaned out also. That's how I would do it. Also, our state grant, our aid money that we get, the legislature every July comes and they determine how much money we're going to get. Every state, every 95 states, every 95 counties in the state of Tennessee, it's the same amount of money right off the top. Then they come back and the state determines the amount of money that you get between the amount of people that you have and the miles of road that you have in your county. So if you have, and the amount of people, the amount of miles and the amount of people that you have in your county. So therefore, obviously, Williamson County, Davison County, all of your bigger counties are going to get more money than we get. So we have got to try to get, with the state aid that we get, using and utilizing that more. The state aid that we got, is $332,000. So, we're talking almost $1 million. That's a lot of roads you don't have to pay for 15 miles, for 15 years, 10 to 15 years.
Martin, would you like to respond to that?
There is, I wish I'd wrote some of that down. There's, $400,000 of liquid asphalt, and the prices are going up. But we can take a gallon of that makes 10 gallons of that makes a ton of grout. So $400,000 is going to do 4 miles of hot mix road. It's going to do 20 miles of or more. I've not got my math right, I know, but it's going to do well, almost 4 times more. So we're going to get instead of 4 miles, we're going to get 12 or 13 miles out of that kind of money. And the state aid formula for that, 50% gets divided equally between each county, all 95 counties. 25% goes for population, 25% goes to land area. So, you know, we're a medium-sized county. We get about, in state aid money, $3 million a year. That's our budget. State aid is, we get $200,000 out of that deal, and $50,000 for bridges. So we get $250,000 a year, no matter what.
All right. Are you done? Okay. We're going to wrap up. We'll do a minute for closing. I think Scotty went first to open, so Mr. Bartlett, you'll go first for your closing.
I'm Benton Bartlett. I've been in here 7.5 years. It's been tough to campaign this year with the weather we've been having, that kind of thing. It's been really rough on roads, as anyone that's run down the interstate can attest to. We're trying our best. We need a good summer this year. We've got money. We've got equipment. We're ready to go. We're going to start Blanton's Chapel is going to get started paving next Wednesday. That's 4 miles. That says I keep all of my state aid money spent. I think right now I've got $123 in state aid. You need that money. You need to keep that money spent. That's a 2% match. That's the best deal we've got on hot mix roads, and that's what we're doing this year. And we keep that money spent.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bartlett. Next, Mr. Hansard.
Well, our state aid, I mean, we know our own budget. It's pretty much in black and white. The state aid money that we got was $332,953. Last year we got $409,000, $614. The year before that, we got $586,791. That's exactly how much state aid money we got. Black and white. Our bridges, you know, we built one bridge in 8 years. We get a bridge fund. We've got a bridge fund that is in 2020, it was $934,740. We got another budget this year of $350,000. And I think that that we need a change in the way things are doing with our highway department. We've got to go after more grants and be more aggressive toward these things in our bridges. And ask you to vote for Scott Hansard, Road Superintendent. Thank you all.
Thank our candidates for Road Superintendent, Benton Bartlett and Scott Hansard. For our folks listening on the radio, we got one final break, and candidates for sheriff are next.
Hi, my name's Bobby Carter, and I'm asking for your vote in the Circuit Court Judgeship of Coffee County, 2nd Division. I grew up in Tullahoma. I attended the Citadel and the University of Tennessee Law School. After that, I served my country as an officer in the United States Navy JAG Corps. Since then, I've been a trial lawyer in Coffee County for the last 25 years. I feel that I have the legal and life experiences to protect the citizens of this county over the next 8-year term. I would appreciate your vote in the May 3rd Republican primary. Thank you all.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Our final session of the night. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. We have candidates, Republican candidates for Coffee County Sheriff. We have incumbent Chad Parton and Alithia Ron on the stage. Coin toss, I believe, determined that Mrs. Ron will be going first.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Alithia Ron. I am a 1999 graduate here of Coffee County. I'm the daughter of Billy and Debbie Smart. I'm married to Derek Ron. We share 3 children. I'm a prior military police officer with the Army National Guard, serving an 8-year contract. I trained in Vicenza, Italy. I trained in Yuma, Arizona with Border Patrol. I'm SWAT certified, and I'm the first female to successfully complete that training in Coffee County Sheriff's Department history. I was awarded the highest recognition in the state, the President's Award, for the disarmament of a student who was in full possession of a .22 caliber pistol at Shelbyville Central High School. I've worked very, very hard in this male-dominant field. I've worked very, very hard in my career, and I'm nowhere done striving for excellence and trying to make Coffee County the best that it can be. Thank you.
Sheriff Parton.
Good evening. Thank you. I am your sheriff. I was lucky enough for you to elect me 4 years ago in 2018. How this 4 years has flown by. I've lived here all my life. I'm 49 years old, married to my wife, Leanne Hollinsworth Parton, my daughter, Maggie Parton, and my son, Will Parton. We all live here in Manchester. I'm a product of Southern Coffee County from the Hillsborough community. I'm very proud of my lineage and my history here at the Sheriff's Office and public service throughout Coffee County. I've served in the District Attorney General's office. I've served as your Homeland Security Director. I've served as a Deputy Sheriff. And most proudly, I served as a Corrections Officer. And what you're going to be looking at in the future, not only here tonight, but on in after the primary, is experience. Experience of dealing with a jail. Experience of why we have a jail. And I think you heard a lot tonight from some of the other candidates. If you hadn't figured out by now, you're scratching your head and won't know, why do we have a 400-bed jail in Coffee County? It's a good thing we need to study, and you're going to hear a lot of things in the future about mental health, recidivism, and all those things. Well, what you need to focus on is the duties of the sheriff. And what is the sheriff responsible for? He's responsible for working with the judges and the DA and all the attorneys. But he's not the psychologist, and he's not the mental health coordinator. He's also not your gun trainer. And you can set yourself up with a lot of liability because the last debate you heard something about, I want to do your gun training from another opponent. Be careful with that. I'm very happy to say that we are, after many years, our department is lawsuit free. Many years we're lawsuit free. Those lawsuits that I inherited at the Sheriff's Office cost this county a lot of money, and I've worked this last term to get those knocked in the head or dismissed. And I'm very proud that that's done. So thank you, and we'll answer your questions.
All right, Mr. Parton, you're our first. With the nationwide mentality seeming to be anti-police now more than ever, how do you propose attracting quality candidates into that profession right here in Coffee County?
Well, that's very tough to do anywhere in this country, because if you want to be cool in emergency services these days, you're going to go be a fireman. But we have to show that we are an agency that is willing to give somebody a start and be willing to also to promote those people. I'm very happy to say, since the last 4 years I've been sheriff, I've had folks come into corrections and move up to patrol, and have also gone on to the other agencies, particularly the Tennessee Highway Patrol, also the Tennessee Board of Probation and Parole. Some have went on into full-time military duties. I'm very proud of that, and we're going to keep promoting that. We're also have the most college degreed employees, I think, in the history of our department. I'm very proud of that. I'm also proud of the look that we've changed. We went from this real militaristic look, and we've brought back a professional look. You do not go into a situation that we get called into actively that are heightened and disputes, looking like you're going into a military zone. You want to go in and de-escalate. So that's the reason I've changed our uniforms and gone back to a true blue uniform. I don't like having deputies with these over SWAT vests and 15 rounds of M16 clips on their front, trying to go to somebody's grandmother's home to take a call over their mailbox being vandalized, or go to a domestic dispute where there's a lot of arguments. We want to bring that professionalism back and keep it that way, and that's going to have to be done nationally. And I'm not so sure you're not going to see in this state in the future of them legislating us what we wear, because it has a bearing and an effect on the response you get when you arrive to the scene.
Thank you. Ms. Ron, same question. With the nationwide mentality seeming to be anti-police now more than ever, how do you propose attracting quality candidates into that profession right here in Coffee County?
Well, we do have a lot of great officers that already work for us, and we're blessed that we have retained those officers. They work very hard for our families out here on the streets. I believe that having a department where your officers have high morale really speak volumes. I think that plays an important factor as well. It's ever changing, and we've got to continue to work to keep those deputies, keep those deputies in their places, and keep working toward, getting them better benefits, and even at some point try to get them more pay. We don't make a lot. I'm glad that we got the raise that we had here recently. But there's always work that needs to be done, and we can always try to improve on those issues.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ron, you go first this time. This comes from a listener who says that it is rare for an employee to run for election against a sitting sheriff. Can you explain your decision making and why you chose to do that? Are there issues with the sheriff's department that you feel that you could better serve than Sheriff Parton?
I made this decision to run for sheriff here a while back. It was not a decision that I made lightly. This was a decision that I spoke with to my family about, something that I prayed about. This is something that I want to set a standard, and I want to show my children that, females in this line of work, you can be anything that you want to be if you get out there and you really try hard and you work hard and you set a good example. That's why that I chose to run for sheriff. Nobody's perfect. I'm not here to sling any mud at Sheriff Parton. He and I have a great working relationship. I hope that we can continue with that relationship. But ultimately, that's a hard one. I just, I really want this opportunity to serve you as sheriff. This is my calling. This is something that I've thought about and that I really, really want to do. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Sheriff Parton, you are facing a primary challenger from an employee, and 2 more challengers are awaiting you in the general election. Do you feel that this is an indication that other law enforcement personnel do not believe that you are effective?
At some point, I'm sure they'll have some kind of topic that I'm not effective because they can't find anything that I'm defective about, so they'll have to come up with it. But I will say that this young lady sitting next to me is one of my top hands. I worked hard to recruit her. She knows how hard it was for her to leave the Chevrolet Central High School as an SRO, and I'm ever so lucky to have her, and we're going to continue to have her in the future. And I know we talked about that in the last debate, but I do have to help her out, that we have to be careful about liability, and that's because of lack of experience and knowledge and knowing the duties of the sheriff and what we can get ourselves into as a county as a whole. But I will help her. And if she was to beat me, I will continue to help her. I want her to succeed. She's one of mine. I brought her on, and I'm going to be a team player, and I'm going to push her forward, and I will push her all the way through out of this primary if she was to beat me, and I'll continue to follow and guide her all the way through the general election because I believe that much in her. She just needs more time. And she's got a bright future at the Coffee County Sheriff's Office. I will see to it. She's on our SWAT team, and she's very effective. She's very effective at that North Coffee Elementary School. She's very effective at any task that I've given her. But again, it's taken me 30 years. And I've worked in the jail. I've been a detective. I've worked the homicides. I have worked the violent crimes. I've worked the frauds and the embezzlements. I've worked everything there is across the board in the county. And I've also worked this $10 million budget to give you $3 million a year back for the last 3 years. It's never been done. And I put the SROs in the schools 4 years ago when everybody sat in this audience laughing at me and said, where are you going to get the personnel? I emptied Captain's Row out there. That was empty, easy to do. I had to reorganize. We restructured. Nothing against the last administration. We took what they had and we built upon it. And we're going to continue to do it. And we want to leave things better than the way we found it. And that's what I want to do for somebody in the future as well. Thank you.
Sheriff Parton, this question goes to you. You were very vocal against the city of Manchester's annexation of the Bonnaroo property. Do you not view this move as best for the community? Why or why not?
Well, yeah, I was somewhat vocal because I knew there was going to be a lawsuit against it, which affects all of us county employees. If our entities keep suing each other, who do you think's the victim in that? The employees. It's a waste of time and money, and it's sad that our governments can't get along. It's childish, suing one another. I beg the county not to work better. You can see it on record. I've scrutinized the county commissioners at times, and I've also scrutinized the city of Manchester. But look where we're at, a lawsuit. And, it just brings on added problems. But that's their choice. If they wanted to annex it, and they did, then they've gotten it. But they also figured it out that the rates to pay these officers and these firemen is a whole lot higher than it was at that time. But we got that 21% increase on these deputies, so our rate's going to be a little higher than that overtime rate now because we're right up there with Manchester and Tullahoma. But there again, that might have been a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I was asked to speak about it, and I turned over some stats, and I think they found out that, hey, last 20 years, 18, 19 years, we've done a lot of work out there. And there's a lot of thefts. There's a lot of assaults. There's even sexual assaults. There's all kinds of crime that goes on when you're the 5th largest city in the state for 4 or 5 days. So, that's just choice. I just want the county and the cities to get along and work together. And we try that every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Alithia, where do you stand on the Sheriff's Department role with Bonnaroo and the Sheriff's Department role in the safety plan now that the city has annexed the property?
I'm going to have to agree with Sheriff Parton on that. I do feel like that the city and the county should try to get along better. There's always been a little bit of animosity there, and I would like to see, but I would do my part to try to get those bridges to make us be able to work more efficiently together.
Thank you. Ms. Ron, this is for you first this time. Listener Barry in Manchester says that you're campaigning to make history as the first woman elected sheriff. This question is simple. Should gender be a factor when selecting an elected official to lead a department?
I don't think that we as females in this line of work, we're under constant scrutiny. I can sit up here and worry myself if I'm coming across too aggressive. Well, she's being too aggressive. Well, I can sit up here and be really nice and soft-spoken, and then I'm going to be critiqued for that. So where's that happy medium at? But I promise you that I am giving my ultimate best, everything that I've got to show you. It takes so much to get up here in front of people and put yourself out there and put your family on the spot and open yourself up to criticism. But I'm willing to do that because I'm brave. And 99% of the time, it's what fear is what holds us back from everything we do. Fear. People are scared to just take that leap of faith. And I'm taking that leap of faith. I want to show you that I'm brave, that I'm here tonight with my family, and I want to show you where my heart is. And I would love more than anything in the world to beat Sheriff Parton in this primary so that I can set that tone for all females, that you can be anything that you want to be, no matter if you are a female or not. If you work hard, you can make it, but you just got to put in the effort, and that's what I've done.
Thank you. Sheriff Parton, do you feel that gender should be a factor when selecting an elected official to lead a department?
No. I mean, how many elected females do we have in this county? Several. Our county commission has several. City mayor here is a female. That's not a problem. What I think that you should determine on is the merits of the candidate and their experience. That's what it boils down to. Just flat out experience and what they're capable of doing. I think in due time, Alethea is going to produce in not only at the sheriff's office, but whatever future she has is what's brought her here. That's what sparked me to hire her, was her enthusiasm and her work ethic. I think she might be jumping the gun a little soon on being sheriff, and we'll agree to disagree on that. But she's my friend and my coworker, and that's the way I'm going to be it. But no, gender's, even though she wants to make history, I think I might have made a little history when I got elected. But it is what it is. But no, gender shouldn't have a fact. There's a leader that lives in my house, and the gender's not a problem there.
Last question. This goes to Sheriff Chad. What do you view as the 3 biggest challenges facing the Sheriff's Department over the next 4 years?
Number one is maintain a jail population. We're right at capacity again. That's at 400. They have built that jail set up to add 200 more beds as needed. As our growth here in the county is coming, and I know there's been a lot of talk of that, and y'all have all seen how many subdivisions are coming, and the school systems are talking about expansion of schools. When you have that type of growth and those types of expansion, you also have an expansion of crime. And when you have an expansion of crime, you have an expansion of jail population. So that's very expensive. Next thing is our fentanyl problem. We just had another fentanyl death last Sunday. They were seeing more and more of that. It's a problem everywhere. We have the same problems that Nashville has in Atlanta and Chattanooga. It's just on a smaller scale. Do I think that we're not safe in Coffee County? No. I just think we need to be more educated and be more attentive and watch after our young folks. So jail population and the safety of our young folks and our adults with the drug problem. I also see with the other expansion of growth, this week, I was thinking about this topic. Folks, if you're listening, please slow down on the county roads. Our speed's gotten out of hand. And also today, we've got a school zone speeding problem. And folks, I don't want to be a ticket issuer. I don't want my deputies to have to start writing tickets. But if you don't start slowing down, the clerk's office is going to get a lot of money out of you. We've got to do it. Okay? So please, ladies and gentlemen out there, slow down. We're going to buy some more radars. And we're going to have some ticket books. And it's going to cost you a lot of money. Okay? So slow down. So that's the issues I see for the future of Coffee County.
Ms. Ron, same question. Would you like me to repeat that, or you got it?
In my opinion, the 3 things that come to mind for me are obviously our recidivism. That's going to be an issue in every county. We need to work on how to address that problem. And I did have some ideas about addressing our mental health issues. If we can get a hold on that, I think that will ease up on the jail population and end up saving the county some money. Also, another thing that I want to focus on is being able to give back more to the community. I think that there are some programs and things that we can do. I would like to capitalize on the National Night Out. I've always been a participant in that, and that's a night that, you know, law enforcement agencies come together. They do a drug take back that gives the public the opportunity to bring in any old prescriptions, turn it in, get rid of it. I'm a certified car seat installer. I've done car seat checks. You know, we can do things for the kids, have cookouts for them, some hot dogs or something. And the community also wants to know what's going on. I want to be able to let you know, because Lord knows everybody always wants to check on mobile patrol, see who's been arrested or what's going on. So I know that people want to know what's going on, and I would like to incorporate some sort of graph that would be put out on the Sheriff's Department that keeps up with all of our stats. So there's a bunch of things that we can work on. There's always room for improvement, but those are the things that come to mind for me.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ron. Let's do a closing. Got 2 minutes if you want it. Lithia, you'll go first.
My name's Alethea Ron, running for Sheriff of Coffee County. The primary election is on May 3rd, and I ask for your vote. I have worked super, super hard. I'm a very ambitious person, and I give my all. I give 110%. I'm a veteran. I'm a patriot, and I want to show you that I have your best interest at heart. And if given that opportunity, that I will show you what I can do and how I want to work with our agencies, our partnering agencies close by, and I would just like to ask for your vote. Thank you.
All right, Sheriff Parton, 2 minutes.
Thank you. Again, I just stand on my record, and you know, most of you here in the audience tonight, we know each other, we've seen each other, and most of you are longtime residents of Coffee County. But for those of you that are listening in that have just moved in here, say from California or Washington State or wherever it may be that you've come into our community and you don't know us, check us out, investigate us, look into our records, and look at what we've done and what we've accomplished. Go back and look at some historical campaigns, and I'd ask you to look into mine 4 years ago. I'm just standing on a record, and I'm standing on what we did. I can't do no more than that. We're going to keep that up, and we're going to keep building on it and try to keep some positivity in it. And I will say this in closing. You're looking at the two future sheriffs of Coffee County, no matter what. Either I'll continue to be the sheriff, or that lady right there will be the next sheriff, I guarantee you. That's the way it's going to be. And we appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thanks to our sheriff candidates for coming out tonight, Mr. Parton and Alethea Ron. We appreciate you. And I think that's gonna wrap it. I think we don't have any more. Well done. You can catch the audio replay of tonight on our website, thunder1320.com. Click on downloads.